To access a website over the internet, computers need to exchange data between them. Computers usually communicate with an IP address. Our computer will communicate with another computer on the internet whenever we try to access a website. However, it is difficult for a person to remember the IP address of a large number of websites all over the world. As a result, we need domain naming servers which have a list of all the IP addresses assigned to a specific domain such as facebook.com, google.com, and so on. So, whenever we make a request to facebook.com, google.com, or any other website, a DNS request is made by our system to get the IP address assigned to that domain. Then after, our system starts communicating with that machine directly using the IP address. Look at the picture here. Initially, when we enter some example.com, our browser will make a request to the DNS server and ask for the IP address of this example.com. The DNS server responds with the IP address, and then after your browser will communicate with that IP address to get the website information. Here I will try for fb.com, and now you can see the page is loaded. And to identify the IP address of this facebook.com, just right click and click on inspect, go to the networks tab and try to refresh again, and these are the requests made. Just select it, and here to the right click on the post, and you can see the IP address of the machine here. This is the IP address of Facebook, and this is the port number that this web server is running on. Let's see the same for one more website. Let's go with google.com, go to inspect, network, and here if you see this post, and this is the address of google.com. So whatever requests we make from here, if we try for DNS, all these requests will be directly sent to the server that is on the same IP address. Now let us see how a request is sent to that machine by our browser. Soon after we get the IP address, the computer will make a HTTP request to the server and fetch back the response. For example, let me go to a new tab and try for some simple sites. And see here, I'm just navigating to inspect and network tab, and I'm just making this request once again. Make sure you select all here, and this is the first request that is made by our machine or the browser to this particular domain. So the HTTP request that is made is this, and just selecting this raw, so we can see all the actual parameters and values that are sent. And this is the request that is made to the server, and these are called HTTP headers. And in this you can see the host name, the user agent which is your browser, and some other headers which tells the language and the type of encoding we accept, etc. So whenever this request is reached to the server will just identify the request and it will send back the response for this particular requested data. So to see the response from the server, and this is the actual response headers from the server. So this is the HTTP response header. Here you can see that the response contains 200 OK, and these are called status codes. Just by looking at these status codes, we can tell what type of response it is. Is it a successful response? Is it some issue from the server side? Or is it some illegal request made by us, etc. Simply, these are the HTTP status codes for this, and one XSS, which means informational, and two XSS is for success, and three XSS means the redirection, and four XSS is for client error, and five XSS are for server error. Okay, and for this response headers, we also have some body in the response, and this is the actual body. So this is the actual code that is used to show this kind of picture here. So whenever this is rendered by your browser will create an image like this. And if we observe some response headers, you can see what type of server they are running, and it is a server Nginx, and this is the version, and it is powered by PHP. The programming language that they are using at the backend is PHP for this. And there is also the date and time mentioned in the response headers, and the content type of the response data, which is this, and the encoding type, which is gzip. Of course, your browser will just unzip it and show us the actual text here, but we will receive this in a compressed format. And actually here, this website is disclosing the version of the Nginx server that is being used, and the PHP version that is also being used by the server, which is not recommended, because whenever a version is identified, some attackers or hackers or the internet can try to hack these machines by identifying the vulnerabilities that are available in this particular version. So on the server side, they have to stop sending response headers with the version, and they can configure that in the Nginx server application. Okay, that's all for this video, and let's discuss more about this HTTP requests, responses, and all about this HTTP in detail in the next video. Thank you.